my first fight. I want to talk to you guys about the very first real ring fight that I ever had. The experience and what I learned from it. Many things that will help you guys as you go into potentially your first fight. Things that you may not have realized are very important, or the way that you may feel, or so many other small elements. For example, the very first fight I had was over in Calgary. We're from Canada. I'm over on the coast in Victoria. And over in Calgary, there's this big Muay Thai community. And back when I had my first fight, which would have probably been in 2006, I think, we went over there, just little small island town here, city. And we go over there and we go to this big gym. And all over the walls, there are pictures of all these famous fighters who the coach there, Mike Miles, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. It wasn't Mike Miles. It was somebody else. But anyway, there was all these pictures all over. Like, oh, they've trained with these guys and these guys and these guys, seminars, travel, all this kind of stuff. And even my coach at the time started getting really nervous. Started being like, whoa, okay, these guys have a lot of experience. Okay, and getting all a little bit panicky, which is not what you want when you're the fighter about to go in. Fortunately, my brother was also competing on that card with me. It was his second fight, I believe. He's 2 years younger than me, but it was his second fight. Well, it was my first. Fortunately, the two of us are just not fazed by that kind of stuff. And we just kind of looked at each other and had a little word when we were in our hotel room, because we were sharing a hotel room, being like, who cares if they've had other people training with them? It doesn't help the person that I'm fighting that much. You learn a little bit, but it doesn't make the opponent that I'm facing as good as all these famous fighters that they've trained with or that appear on their wall at their gym. But it's easy for people to get rattled. And once you get rattled and you start questioning, is the guy better? Do they have better amenities at their gym than us? Do they have better training partners? Do they have this? Do they have that? As soon as you start questioning everything, it just slides downhill. And what do you really need to be successful in this sport? In my opinion, you don't need a whole massive group of all these high-class world fighters. You need one or two good training partners, one good pad holder, and a lot of determination and willpower to push through pain so that you can get the really good training in. Outside of that, everything else is, as they say, just smoke and mirrors. Doesn't matter that much. So that was one of the very first things that I learned very fast. Don't get intimidated by big gyms who have all the fancy stuff and all the fighters who have visited and done seminars, because I won the fight. Obviously, my brother won his fight. And yeah, it was just a fast learning experience that helped us as we went on. Like when I started getting to glory and stuff and I saw opponents that I was facing from these big famous gyms like Majero or Mike's gym, you're like, oh gosh, do I have to be worried about this? And you're like, no, I don't. It's not something that's on the top of my concern. So anyway, that was one of the very first experiences that I had dealing with extra pressure. From there, what else did we have? Well, went into the fight, was very tired in the fight, very tired. Did not run for that fight. Went in very arrogant, thinking like, you know what? I'm 20 years old, something like that. One of the best in the gym, can beat up most of the guys there. I've been training since I was, 16 in kickboxing, karate since I was like 7 or I don't even know, something like that. And I'm good enough. I don't need to run. Mistake. Doesn't need to be specifically running, but some form of cross training to challenge your body in a different way. Because you get very good at sport specific stuff. You feel very confident with your cardio, with your strength in that area. And then you go do something different and you realize, oh my gosh, I'm only really in good shape for this one thing. So having some cross-training element that really pushes you outside your comfort zone is so important, because sometimes in the fight, you end up outside your comfort zone. Your opponent pushes a pace on you, which you're not used to. They fight in a different style that you're not used to. Your body's not performing that day as it normally does. The cross training pushes you outside your comfort zone, and it was a learning experience for me that yes, even though my skill set was good, and yes, even though I got the win, I could have done way better if I had not got fatigued. So round number 1, round number 2, I was pushing, I was trying to get the knockout. Round number 3, so exhausted. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I threw up, I think it was a head kick, maybe a left head kick. Felt tired and lazy, fatigued, I felt sloppy, and I thought the guy slipped. And it took me a moment to realize, for the ref to start counting, being like, oh, I knocked him down. Didn't really clue in at that point, although it should have, because this was my first experience in recognizing that the hard shots you throw are not the ones that always score the knockdowns. It's the shots that land that score the knockdowns, and sometimes the shots that land are just the ones that you place out there, right? You're not going, ugh! You just boom, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, did he trip? No, okay, that was a knockdown, yes. So don't worry about trying to put 100% power into all your shots. Something that I've learned more down the road, but looking back again, I should have seen that, because placing shots out, landing is far more important than trying to throw big shots that connect against gloves or just miss. Big important element. The next thing on that fight, which I did not do, is cut weight properly. Had to cut a little bit of weight, but didn't cut weight properly. And in addition, on those early fights, my mindset was, I don't want to cut weight. I'm just going to walk in at what I'm fighting at. Now, I can't remember, I think I was fighting at 135 back then. So maybe I was walking around 140 pounds, probably cut a few pounds, but just silly way to go about it. I just dieted, right? Just didn't eat anything. I think I had a can of tuna, maybe the whole day prior to the weigh-ins the day before. So if I weighed in on a Friday, I think maybe on the Thursday I had like a can of tuna. Did 0 water weight cut. The water weight cut is much easier to do than just deprive yourself completely of food. Crazy. But again, there's no science back then. I didn't have a coach to teach me that kind of stuff. So I just kind of looked up and went like, oh yeah, if you don't eat food, you're going to lose some weight. But it's very important, I think, as you go forward in the early stages of your career, to find that balance between not cutting too much, but not just stepping on the scale and cutting nothing. Because obviously cutting nothing gives your opponent a distinct advantage if they do a big, massive cut. But overcutting early on, I don't think it's good. I think you need to ease into that kind of thing. So my suggestion for most people would be, and obviously depends on the weight class, the higher guys can cut more. But if you're somebody who walks, let's say, around 150 pounds, maybe drop in 5, 6 pounds, somewhere in there. A very small percentage, something like that would be fine. It's like, what, 3-ish% of your body weight? Yeah, you can do that. If you start being like, okay, I'm going to cut 10% of my body weight, I'm 150 pounds, I'm going to cut 15. Yeah, you can do it. It's not smart. You're better off putting your energy into developing your skill set, improving and making sure that you have better skills than your opponent, as opposed to the weight advantage, because skills really matter in those early fights, because the skill discrepancy can be massive. When you start getting to a high level and skill discrepancy is so tight, yes, then a little bit of extra weight can boost you up. So the first fight, it was scary. I just remember being so scared at every stage of it, being in the hotel room before the fight, scared, weigh-ins, terrified, backstage, gassed, exhausted during warm-up, feeling terrified for the walkout, to the first round of the fight, feeling terrified. Just not a pleasant experience. In fact, the song, because I was the out-of-town guy, so I walked into the ring first, then my opponent walked out after. The song that he walked out to, I still hate it. It's not a song that I should hate, but when he walked out, I was so scared, and that song in my mind was something that just terrified me even more. And to this day, if the song comes on the radio, I just change it. I just don't like it. I don't like the memory of the fear that I had in that moment. But recognizing that you are going to have extreme fear on your first fight, I think is very important, because stepping in there and experiencing that but not knowing it was coming was extra terrifying. You always want fear. You just don't want that much fear. That's for sure. So hopefully you guys have taken a little bit of information from this episode. You can utilize it to help you in future fights, or just decide if you even do want to fight. But I can say, looking back on my career now, looking back on those early fights, I was so glad I did them. So happy, because it's been like 2 decades now of competition. I've been very lucky, accomplished many great things, come out with very minimal damage up to this point, and feel very fortunate for that. XMartial guys, link down below to save 10% on their fight attire, which is fantastic. And of course, Strike Ready Movement is now available for everybody to purchase again, as our 5-week training course has concluded. There's a link down below, and it's just $99 right now for that course, where we're focusing on the footwork and the balance and the range training. Thanks for joining, guys. I will see you back here soon.